The 16th and 17th centuries were a time of great exploration and adventure in the world. The kings and rulers of Europe became possessed with the spirit of conquest and colonization. And among the Europeans, Great Britain stood out as a conquering kingdom of colonizers. From her shores, multiple vessels launched out into the great unknown. They were searching for lands, big and small, to enlarge their territory and enrich their treasuries. In 1607, an English settlement was established in the Americas, Jamestown, Virginia. This would end up being the first permanent English settlement in the Americas, setting the foundation for a new English-speaking superpower. But the colony was threatened by harsh weather, famine, and disease. The history books call this period of peril starvation time. The population had dropped from 500 to a mere 60 settlers. They ate snakes, boiled their leather shoes, and scientific evidence shows that some even turned to cannibalism. Scores of people perished from the power of the famine. In response to the crisis, a salvation expedition was organized in England. A ship was sent out across the mighty Atlantic to bring aid and relief. This vessel of salvation bore the necessary provisions to restore and preserve life. The ship was loaded with food and various supplies. The flagship that carried this salvation operation was called the Sea Venture, led by the great Admiral Sir George Somers. And so, the Sea Venture set sail on June 2nd, 1609, bound for Jamestown. But after over 50 days of smooth sailing, the ship encountered a hurricane. Now, many ships her size had survived such weather, but the Sea Venture had a critical flaw. Because of its newness and its hasty departure, the timbers of the ship had not yet set. The caulking between the boards was forced out by the water, causing massive leaks. The ship was taken on water because it wasn't sealed right and tight. And during that emergency, all the non-essentials were thrown overboard. The massive guns on deck were jettisoned to raise the buoyancy of the boat. No need of that anymore. Survival is all that matters. The next day, on July 25th, 1610, Admiral George Somers spied land in the distance. So to prevent it sinking, he deliberately drove the Sea Venture onto the reef at Discovery Bay. All 150 people on board, including one dog, made it safely to the shores of a sweet island paradise, an uninhabited haven of rest that they'd never seen before. A terrible shipwreck led to a paradise of rest. The history books tell us that after 9 months in the womb of this island paradise came the birth of 2 ships. And these ships were largely made of the stripped material of the Sea Venture. These 2 vessels of redemption would end up completing the salvation operation. Their names are an illustration of what God can do from the brokenness of our lives. Their names were Patience and Deliverance. On May 10th, 1610, Deliverance and Patience set sail from Bermuda for Jamestown. They arrived on the American shores 13 days later and found the 60 survivors almost dead. Everyone boarded the ships and were brought back to England. And through a miracle of grace, everyone made it back to the safe shores of their earthly home, carried by patience and deliverance to salvation and rest. Many are the lessons we learn from this story. You see, in life, we face many storms that take away our peace, obstacles that block us from reaching our destination, winds that blow us off track from attaining our goals, waves that beat us and drive us to spiritual shipwreck. Perhaps this is where you are today. And if so, I want to let you know that shipwreck doesn't have to be the end of your journey. For just like the Sea Venture, it was shipwreck in a storm that led to a great discovery. It was shipwreck in a storm that brought them to an untouched paradise. And thus, this experience led to the building of patience and the birthing of deliverance. And so too in the shipwrecks of life. Take courage and count your blessings. In the failures of life, learn the lessons that will only make you stronger. And thank God even in the shipwreck. For it is the means by which God is developing patience within us that will enable us to endure any future storm we face. It is the means by which God is preparing us for final deliverance when He returns the second time. And it is the avenue by which will land us into the sweet paradise above. For God is the God that can bring beauty even from the brokenness and salvation even from the shipwreck.